Hey, this is Vince. As promised in the description of this video, this is not an actual entry in the Maze podcast series, but I did want to put this offer/request out there for anyone who watches these videos to come up with a better map than what we're working off right now. And actually, the shape of the map, the information on the map we've got now is pretty good. But what I'm going to show you here on the Maze Wiki are the maps that I've drawn, which look sort of like something a second grader might do for a overnight homework project. We'll start in the path. And I'll try to explain as we go what the relevant features are of the maps and why the maps are split up the way they are. So hopefully this will make sense if someone wants to make their map, why they're made this way. But if you have ideas for different ways to make them that retain their usefulness and are perhaps more elegant, symmetrical, something like that, feel free to make changes. Now the path is notable because this section of the map contains the 16-step path from 1 to 45 and then back out. And the majority of the rooms on the path are the rooms that fall on that 16-step path. That's why it's called the path. But the question that everyone has immediately is, why do these other rooms get grouped in with the path if they're not part of the 16-step path? Why is 5 and there? Why is 2? Why are 32 and 28 there? If those are not rooms that you're supposed to go to. And the reason why those are grouped together is because, generally speaking, if you're on the 16-step path and you step off the path for any reason, you cannot get back on the path without following a different set of rooms all the way back to 1 and starting over. The exception to that are these other rooms that are adjacent to rooms in the path, but once you've stepped off the path into them, you can still get back onto the path without going all the way back to 1. So that's why, we've got this nice figure 8 pattern that details the 16-step path. It's from 1 to 26 all the way to 4, curves around down this way, and then back up and back to 1. So that's a pretty nice shape, and it was clearly intended by Manson. And I don't think there's any reason to change that. 5 and 2, I think, pretty comfortably fit in the center of those circles, and they just connect the two other rooms that are in the circles. 32 and 28, I think, I put them inside the circle just to keep the entire map shaped like two circles, but I think it might be better conceptually just to put them off to the side here. I don't know, whatever someone can figure out that looks nice. I don't know how you feel about the color coding here. I think it's helpful to tell at a glance what's going on. We've got red numbers are doors to the trap, and green numbers are doors to the loop. Now, from the path, we know that all these green and red numbers are going to be one-way doors to those other rooms, and any two-way doors are going to be to other rooms within the path. One-way doors within rooms to the path I've marked with these purple arrows. Again, I don't know if it's really necessary to make them purple. It could perhaps be more elegant to find a way to do this in just black and white. I think it heightens the sense that this is something done by a child with the color coding that I've got here. On the other hand, I'm not sure how to clearly and easily distinguish between doors that are going to the path and doors that are going to the loop. Anyway, that's what we got for the path here. Next set of rooms we're looking at is the loop. Now, the loop is the set of rooms that once you step off the path, you have to follow these rooms back to 1 and start over if you want to make it to the center and back out again. The loop does not have a lot of entrances to the trap. You'll notice there are some over here, and this is a special group of rooms I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and it arguably should be set off on its own apart from the rest of the loop, although I don't know how necessary it is. It might just be worthwhile to demarcate it in some way. But anyway, the loop, I've drawn the loop in a circle with these particular rooms in a circle for this reason. I think it makes it easier to tell at a glance which rooms you need to follow to get back to 41, because wherever you find yourself, any room in the loop, what you need to do is get back to the circle and then follow the circle clockwise around until you get back to 41, and then you go from 41 to 1. So these rooms here, go to 33, go around. These rooms here, go to 18, go around. 9 or 27, get back on the circle and go around. You get it. It's maybe not the most elegant shape in some ways because, for instance, you've got this long line connecting 25 and 35, which suggests maybe there should be two smaller circles here. But I don't know. I like how immediately obvious it is which rooms you should be taking to go where to get back to 41. Now, the reason why I say this set of rooms over here, 44, 21, 31, and 19, should potentially be considered a separate set of rooms is that once you leave this set of rooms, you can't come back. And that's the only set of rooms in the loop that you can't get back to. Every other room in the loop, you can come and go freely to every other room in the loop. Also unusual about 19, 31, 21, 44, these are all outdoor rooms. There are some other rooms in the maze that are arguably outdoors. I think 36 is probably the best argument to have that it's outdoors, but these rooms are all clearly outdoors and they're all grouped together, so it does seem that there is some intention for them to be viewed as a separate set of rooms. And if you wanted to draw those separately, I guess it doesn't seem like it's really worthwhile to make a separate map just for those 4 rooms, but maybe they could be, signaled in some way. I don't know. Here I've got blue doors indicating one-way doors from the path, and then the red markings are one-way doors to the trap. Now, there are no one-way doors from the loop to the path, and there are no one-way doors from the trap to the loop. I'm not sure whether that's confusing to people. It's certainly not confusing to people who are experienced with the maze, and so they understand if we've got doors connecting the loop to the path or the loop to the trap, what that means. But maybe if you do think that's inelegant, there's some way that you can signal which direction doors are traveling in without relying on the audience or the viewer to understand how the path, the loop, and the trap work. I think that's about all that I need to point out about the trap. Oh, you'll notice I use different shapes for the different rooms. They're for the different sections. The path, those are all squares. These are all circles. You're going to see when you get to the trap that those are triangles. I don't know that that's really helping anything either. Keep it, leave it, change it. Going to the trap. Now the trap is the one section where there's probably not a lot that you're going to want to do to change the layout of it in terms of it being sort of a circuit of rooms here and then this two-pronged formation here so that overall it resembles a key. You might want to do round lines here if you want to make it look like a better key. I don't know, you could have the prongs be different lengths if you think it makes it look more key-like. But the reason why the trap is here laid out like a key like this, I didn't originally have it like this, but with a little bit of prompting from White Raven on Into the Abyss, we realized that there's an image of a broken key in room 38 over the door that comes from 41. And when you think about it, for various reasons, it's clear that that broken key is supposed to be a map of the trap. The break in the key actually happens right inside 38, so the breaking point would be right here. But it doesn't matter. It's a key is the point. And so you'll want to keep that general shape since it relates to a puzzle within maze. Other than that, you can see I have really nothing special here. We've got the same. The blue numbers relate to doors that came from the path. Green numbers relate to doors that came from the loop. There are no doors that lead out of the trap. And there are no one-way doors within the trap except for arguably 24 because it's over once you go to 24. You'll note that in my key I still have the marking for a one-way connection, even though I don't have any one-way connections on here, so that's a clear error there. Okay, so I think that adequately explains what I've done with the map, the kind of features that should be kept in the map, but I think there's a lot of freedom out there to design more elegant features and a more elegant layout for the map, especially when it comes to the loop. There's a lot to be done here. This is actually not how I've laid out the hand-drawn map that I actually use when I'm thinking about the maze. I actually have all these rooms stuffed inside the circle, but it's a little hard to do that in a clean way when you're keeping all the rooms the same size. So that's what I've got for you here. If you're interested in making a map, send me a message on YouTube or post something on Into the Abyss, or we're really not that hard to get a hold of. Just get in touch with one of us and let us know, and there's a good chance that any map you make is going to look better than the ones I've made that we're using right now. So I appreciate any efforts in that regard.